Hello everybody and welcome back to WoW Mods, and we're back. So last week we were taking a look at some of the streets. We took a look at the cemetery. Yeah, and we took a look at like how we were sort of like starting to put some finer details. Now, I will show you what I've done in this segment of the town. But first and foremost, I've just wanted to talk a little bit about what's coming up for the channel in the next couple of weeks. So I'm going to be leaving up to back. I'm crossing the pond again. So I'm in Montreal, Canada, and I'm going to be flying to Australia, and I'll be in Adelaide, Melbourne. I don't know if I'm going to be in Sydney, but I'm definitely going to be in Brisbane. So I'm going to be down there for a while, which means I'm going to have to prepare some content. I think it's just 2 weeks that I'm going to be there, so I'm going to need to prepare some of the videos to leave that on the channel as I'm away on a trip. I've also been sick, which kind of sucks. It's been difficult to sort of like recover for it. I've been sick now for about 2 weeks. Just really bad case of X. I'm not really going to talk about it on the channel. But yeah, so it's that's why it's taken a little bit of time to get and do this, because I had to wait for my voice to come back. And here we go. We are now looking at what was once a non-detail street. I now have some more reliant sort of like edges on the street and what I want to do. And of course we want to deal with all these gaps and put more details. But you can see it's starting, before it used to kind of be like hovering in the air, and we didn't have like the details of some of these houses and whatnot, and these street walls. And again, look, here we go. When we look at this here, look, this is looking much, much better. I've got some stand-in NPCs. We've got a campground there. We've got the sailors. We've got sort of like a fish market going on. And over here, you'll see that there's this kind of like terrace slash porch, whatever you want to call it. And then, of course, in the inside we have some details, and if you go down this way, of course, you'll get to the outhouse, and then you'll get to, of course, the back saloon, pirate saloon there. So the details are starting to come in, and it's starting to look good. Of course, we're going to be adding bushes, vegetation, all the little like knickknacks and what have you. But it's coming along, so we're starting to see some of the Kultiran colors, the greens, starting to pop up. We now have this sort of like little plaza. Here we have what I'm calling sort of like the Sailor's Monument. So this is where like the Kultirans would come to like light candles for their disappeared sailors and whatnot. We've got some merchant stalls, some water buckets, some lights. We didn't have that before. This part of the road as well wasn't finished last time we were here. It's now been made to match the other side, and it's all looking pretty good. So in essence, that means that we've got like the bare bone basics of what we want on the island right now. I think for the most part it's done. We just want to start looking at the details. We want to start looking at those little things that really make or break the zone. You can see some of the trees that I've actually changed, because I actually think they give a different vibe to the city. So I'm actually really happy with the way that this is coming about. I think it looks like, if you were to look just at this frame right here, I think it looks like a legitimate Blizzard town with like a very unique design. Or even this, for example, I think is a great shot right there. So that is the work in progress that I wanted to show you. Obviously, I could have done more. Again, as if I don't know if you've been watching the channel for a while now, when you start going into the tiny details of like town details and whatnot, like you saw in, for example, my Suramar build. You know, first you had like the progression of like laying out the town, the general buildings, skyboxes, and all that kind of like big stuff. Um, but then when we started going into like the nitty gritty of like stones and details and whatnots, it became a little bit slower. The work becomes slower because you're really just dealing with detail, and that's just the way it is. But because a lot of the times when at least the way I design it is I'll like have this and then I'll walk through and then I'll think, okay, well, maybe there should be something here, maybe there should be a bush, maybe there should be some bushes there, maybe I should cover this up. Just details like that that come from really just wanting to work with something kind of organically. So here I kind of feel like I don't want big bushes, so maybe I'll just bring some wood planks and maybe put an area where it seems like you could tie your horses. This area here, I do know that I actually want to close this up, and maybe I do want to bring some bushes in here. In fact, maybe I might want one of these on this end. So it's a matter, the process of like building just becomes of actually experiencing the world and going in through the patches and going through what you've designed, and working through it. And as you can see some of the different trees that I've put in or replaced, which I think look better on the island. There's still like I still have certain questions regarding the palm trees. Like I'm not 100% sure if I should keep the palm trees on the top part of this island or if I should just limit them to the shores of the island, because the idea was that the royal island was something along the original idea was something like, you know, Mediterranean, so a lot of like cypress or these sort of like pointy bushes and some sort of olive looking trees, little shrubs like vineyard type of thing, and then we would have that sort of mix with the tropical tree type of situation. But I've been pondering about like, you know, removing a couple of these trees and maybe just putting regular some of the trees that are on top of the island, and then just sticking if you look at the textures that I used as well, they're a little bit different. It's a different type of grass, and then when we move into this second island, there's a deeper green, and there's definitely like more lush because it's a lower island. It's not as high, for example, as actually we'll just go through here so that you can see me again walk down through this area, although we haven't really done much updates on this side. And as you can see, there's no like stonework here. It's mostly wooden fences, so it's less fancy than sort of the Royal Island, but as you can see, it's a different vibe. This island, it's a little bit taller and there's more trees, so I've been wondering whether or not I should keep those trees or whether I should just do that and have this island be a little bit more, you know, sort of like tropical inspired. But I haven't really come to a decision on that. I think the island looks good as is, but I might move towards that. Those are sort of like one of those little design changes that you work on later on and that you might decide to change, which is fine. So not much work has been done here. Really, I just even walking right now here, I just realized that this will definitely is going to be a perfect area to put a tree down. So we'll go into that at some point or at some stage. But yeah, that's where we're at right now. Will I continue working on this, or will we see any future videos on this upcoming? Maybe. It depends. I really would like to have a little break from this project and go back to something. Maybe go back to Gilneas and take a look at that, because I have done a little bit of work on that. Maybe go back to Koloman. I do have a big problem, which is the model duplication issue that I've had, and it's starting to happen with other areas. Nogget is not like that stable, And well, it's stable. It just has a couple of glitches, but people are using different versions of Nogget, and it's sometimes hard because the community isn't like all that active right now, especially when it comes to modding the version of WoW. And anyways, it's a long story, but it's not as easy as one might think. So I really want to do it, but it's going to take some time. And what happens is, if I want to do the videos on a weekly basis, then I have to sort of do constant work, and that doesn't really give me much time to dedicate to Nogget. So one of the, or at least to research Nogget. So one of the things I might actually end up doing is I might actually end up what I might actually end up doing is I might actually end up doing another sorry, I'm terrible at multitasking. What I might actually end up doing is I might decide to take a slight break from modding with Nogget and make a couple of videos just on like games that I might find like interesting for a week or two, just until I can get some proper alone time, let's just say it, with Nogget, and actually decide on what are the things that I want to do. But yeah, so that is going to be it for this time around. I'm just giving you a nice sort of like proper look. I'm just giving you a nice proper look of the island here, and it's looking pretty good. You can see now why I actually decided to incorporate some more of those trees, and why I'm kind of like wondering about these, or whether they should be just on the edges, like if we had some just palm trees here, 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 and here, and just kind of got rid of these big ones that are in the middle. Maybe, you know, keep a couple, but the ones that are like in the center of the city, kind of remove them, and maybe add another tree here instead of this. Maybe keep that one, and just maybe add more along the shore. I think might be something that I might be looking at in the future. But until then, everybody, I think this has been it, and I will see you all next time.